rise from the ashes.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 32 deadline stream. After this week, there's only 6 weeks left. 33, 34, 35, 38. 6 weeks left, as I was saying. Hope you're all doing well. I've absolutely rushed to be on time this morning, which I'm quite happy I am. I am on time. I only finished, I did a run this morning, and I only finished it like 27 minutes ago, and I was out, and so I had to, oh my God, in that time I've had breakfast, I've showered. Super efficient this morning, although I picked up a salad from the shop, and I dropped coleslaw on the desk, and now I've got like, I've wiped it off, but there's like, I don't know, you can see where it fell. Anyway, that's my morning. I'm quite warm still, the fan's on, I got some water. Scaffolding job cancelled. Nice. Nice as long as you're doing good for... It's nice to get some work cancelled every now and again. Obviously, you want work too. So hopefully everything's good. Sounds like you're happy to be off on Saturday morning. Have a benching headache to bench 2 of Saka, Vardy and Rodgers. I think I know what you'll say. Yeah, I'd probably go... I can't believe I missed Rodgers on the benching headache video yesterday. On benching headaches in Final Thoughts yesterday. How stupid was that? Like, could Rodgers start? Unai Emery said they've got to focus on the league, but then what else would he say? Like, he knows he's probably out of the Champions League, right? Could Rodgers start? He always starts. Like, who's got more chance of starting, Rodgers or Saka? Maybe Saka starts. Maybe Arteta wants to keep the momentum going. I don't know. I would definitely start Vardy, I think, because he's going to start, right? But then he's up against all your Palace attackers. I guess I think Rodgers is more likely to start than Saka. So Rodgers and Vardy. It feels really bad to bench Saka. I've got to be honest with you. That's why I kind of said yesterday. If you think he's going to start, you should definitely play him. Honestly, it's a horrible week for a lot of people. I think Cole Palmer will start. He only got 45 minutes midweek, so I'm hopeful of a start, but I can't guarantee it. Like, if I had Saka, I'd be contemplating putting him on the bench. With Palmer, I'm not as keen on doing that. I've got some leaves or something. There's something stuck in my tooth. That's what I get for, like, ramming breakfast down my throat just before I come on live. Oh, I need to get out. It's going to bug me. I need a toothpick or something. Just what you wanted to know on your Saturday morning. Tuning in to talk about FPL. What's stuck in between my teeth? Oh, it's like stuck at the back rather than the front. Anyway, I'm not super with it this morning. Would you bench boost this week? Martinez, Saliba, Milenkovic and Rodgers, or next week's with Martinez, Livramento, Milenkovic, Murphy? So, Livramento is worse than Milenkovic. Milenkovic next week. Okay, so Milenkovic is better this week. Saliba is better than Livramento this week. Martinez is better next week. Murphy, I'd maybe go... Okay, so Martinez is better next week. Saliba and Milenkovic are better this week. Rodgers is better than Murphy this week if he starts, but he might not. So I think you've got 2 better this week, 2 better next week. I'd be tempted to use it this week. I think. Yeah, salad for breakfast. I don't want to like make out like I'm this super healthy person because obviously you can see that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, I had to get something quick. On the way home, something that was already pre-made. What do you think the EOs of Isak and Salah will be? Salah will probably be over 100% because he's just so highly owned. So even people that have like stopped playing will still have him captain. Isak will probably be pushing 200%. Maybe, I don't know if he'll go over 200%. I don't know if that many people I don't know how many people have got triple captain left, to be honest, but I think he'll push 200%, but won't necessarily be over it. If he is over 200, it'll only be small. It won't be like a 260 or something like that. That'd be madness. The fact that Isak blank last week probably helps keep those numbers down. Like there's so many people now think Jacob Murphy is a better captain based on what happened last week. Is Kivior a good option for long term? I think he will continue starting left centre back until Calafiori is fit. When will that be? I don't know. Even then, I would not be surprised if Kivior keeps his place if he's playing well. Like he just did really well against Real Madrid. Who should I bench? Evan Nilsson or Bruno? Ooh, good question. I would probably bench Evan Nilsson. I love Bruno. Best options under 6 million aside from Murphy, Eze, and Sarr. I mean, Semenyo, if he can get away this game without getting a yellow card, I think then he's past the suspension mark. Who else? Like this week specifically, Enzo Fernandez, but long term, not necessarily someone that I would want. Elanga may or may not start. Under 6 million. I mean, the options are really not that great. I mean, Rodgers. I'd probably go Rodgers and risk it because at least he's good next week. Can we know if Rodgers will start or not before the deadline? No. The first game is Man City Palace. Villa aren't. Oh, they're playing at 3:00. I mean, you never know, but I doubt it. If Vardy was playing left back, could he be worth starting over Saliba? Sure. Like, I gotta get this. I gotta get this out of my tooth. Honestly, okay. Here's what I would say. I think most people want to play Vardy, so you should just play Vardy. Honestly, I can't split the two. I think Arsenal probably slightly more likely to get a clean sheet. Vardy probably more likely to get an attack and return slightly. Maybe better for bonus as well. Saliba is playing Brentford. Most people don't have Brentford attackers. Like that is it. I really can't split it for you anymore. I've put Saliba in my 11, but honestly, if I wasn't bench boosting, would I be as confident to do that? Maybe not. I don't know how else to split them. I really don't. There's hardly anything. They're both just really good options this week. You could argue that Gabriel's out, so that pushes you towards Vardy, but it's not like Man City defence has been amazing this year. I'm on triple Newcastle and Palace. Which combination do you think is best? I mean, it really depends on how you want to set the rest of your team up. I mean, for Newcastle, it's almost certainly Isak, Murphy, then one defender. Probably Livramento or Trippier. Maybe Dan Burns fine too. And then for Palace, it's... I mean, honestly, it's three of Munoz, Eze, Sarr, and Mateta. I will say this week, I think not having Mateta's kind of good for me because it means I've got Evan Nilsson on the bench, whereas I think other people might have gone like Mateta and Kluivert, and now they're struggling with Kluivert a little bit because he's a doubt again. But next week, if we're not confident that Watkins is going to start in game week 33... No, hang on. What am I talking about here? Yeah, I don't know if I was going anywhere with that. I had it in my head that next week it might be handier to have Mateta instead of double Palace midfielders, but I can't remember why. I'm sure I'll remember next week. We'll see. Start one of either Savinho, Saliba, Saka, Milenkovic. God, probably Savinho. And is the remaining 3 plus Areola a worthwhile bench boost this week? Will you have a better bench in a future week? If not, then yes. I know people won't want to go with Areola because it's Liverpool away, but if the other three players are decent, it's not bad. Like Saka, Saliba, Milenkovic, and Areola is not a bad bench boost. Will you have a better one in future weeks? Saka, Marmoush, or Bowen? Marmoush, Kirkes, Vardy, or Spence? Ben, 17 months, by the way. Fulham at high. Vardy, probably. Spence will probably start, though. Start when Alanga, Dizazi, Howson. I don't think Nuno gave us anything helpful on Alanga in terms of whether he would start. But I think there's a chance, and I think he's better than the other two. So I'm going to say Alanga. Aurier, 31 months. Would you sell Williams for Bradley? No. And what's wrong with Nico Williams? And Vardy? They're both good. You don't need Connor Bradley. Like, he's a good option, but you don't need him. Callum, how's it going? Right. Start. Would you triple captain Isak or hold and bench boost and triple captain Saka next week? Well, what's your bench next week? Personally, if he's fit, I quite like Saka triple captain next week. But can I guarantee you'll start both games? Probably not. I think he will, by the way, because Arsenal will have. I think Saka could get benched against Brentford, then play against Real Madrid, then Ipswich and Palace. Then they've got a break because they don't play in game week 34. And then it's the first leg of the Champions League semi-final. So I think Saka's got a good chance of starting both games. Like, you've got a pretty good bench this week, right? Martinez, João Pedro. Yeah, I mean, you've got João Pedro against Leicester at home, Vardy and Williams. I think you've got to use it this week. I actually don't care what you're. If you're happy enough to risk Saka's minutes next week, I would go triple captain Saka next week and bench boost this week. That's a really nice bench. I'd be surprised if your bench is better next week. Am I not worried that Isak won't start? On it, I'm not worried in the slight. Like, I could be wrong about this because I've gone pretty big on the fact that people are over worrying about Isak. I even tweeted about it yesterday. I think Isak starts both games, and I think he could easily get 80 plus minutes in both. I think people are worrying about nothing personally. Like, not nothing. Maybe that's a bit harsh because, you know, Jason Tyndall could have worded it better by saying hopefully he'll be fine or whatever he said. But all we've had is managers telling us he's training fine, he's 100% fit. Like, I don't know. I'm captaining. I've not thought for 1 second this week about changing it because there's not really anyone else I'm that interested in. Like, if Eze had Leicester at home and Everton away, then there's a big conversation to be had. But he doesn't, so there's not, in my opinion. Got in Matoma and didn't see the flag. I thought you were waiting until Friday to make the decision. He's a doubt. Should I start him, Saka, or use my second transfer to get Gabriel? No, I would just start Matoma. There's still a chance he will play. If not, if he's out of the squad, Saka could come on. I wouldn't worry about it now. Start Saka or Savinho. If you're feeling ballsy, I'd go Savinho and hope that Saka's benched again. Thoughts on Gordon? I think the best case scenario is a benching against Man United and a start against Palace. It could just be two benchings, though. Alex, 27 months. How's it going? Start Vardy or Konza, Vardy and Rodgers or Saka. I think Rodgers has got a slightly more chance to start than Saka, but I mean, I'm guessing. That's all I can tell you. Like, I don't really have anything to go on with that. Other than Rodgers always starts, but then Saka always starts as well until he got a 3-month hamstring problem. Can you recommend any Foden? Oh yeah, Foden's a doubt, by the way, if you've missed that. Any Foden replacement? Already have 6 double game week. 5 players don't have the funds for Saka Palmer. I probably should have thought about Foden replacements. My gut instinct is there isn't many good options. Like, honestly. I mean, let me give you one name. Bruno Fernandes. Let me think about this. Bruno Fernandes, pretty good fixtures for the rest of the season, always plays. Although maybe he gets maybe even he gets rotated if Man United get through on Thursday. I would Liverpool potentially are great because it's West Ham at home, Leicester away. Actually, do you know what? I would go, if you're not tripled up on Man City, I'd go Savinho maybe. Well, it doesn't matter if you're selling Foden. Yeah, Savinho maybe if you want to go for a double game weekend next week. I don't mind Liverpool players in theory, but I can't guarantee their starts. Bowen's got Liverpool this week, but from next week he's pretty good. Otherwise it's in Burma, but he's got Arsenal away. Yeah, Diaz and Jota are great until they get benched. Like, Diaz was literally benched last week. Like, Jota presumably will continue to start up front, but for how long? Rotation for Europa League. Laughing emoji. Haha, why? Why not? Man United aren't going to get relegated. They're not going to get Europe. Like, Europa League is Man United's best chance of getting into the Champions League. So why wouldn't he rotate him? I mean, I'm not saying he's going to get rotated massively, but could Bruno Fernandes miss one game if Man United get through on Thursday? Why not? Yeah, I Foden replacements kind of suck, to be honest. I would go maybe Bruno. I think Bruno, Bowen, and Mbeumo are all pretty good, solid replacements. Otherwise, you go for a double game week like Rodgers or Savinho. But Rodgers could get benched this week, and Savinho, who knows how many games he'll start. Start Saliba or Vardiol. Answers on screen. I have Saka and I. By the way, I would probably start Saliba, but it's super close. My bench is realistic, in my opinion. That is who I would bench if I wasn't bench boosting. So for anyone that's looking for decisions between players that I own, there you go. I've got Saka and Rodgers. Bench boost is Sells, Rodgers, Vardiol, Milenkovic. Do I just bench boost anyway despite 2 minutes risk? Yes, probably. If future benches don't look amazing. Just hope for the best. Martinez, Rodgers, Vardiol, Kirkers. My plan was to bench boost. I feel like just doing it as my head-to-head in min-league has assistant manager. I mean, that's a perfectly good bench, right? Rodgers is your only real risk, so I don't mind that. Raya, Livramento, do I bench this week or next? What's your bench next week? Like, Martinez, Marmouche, Vardiol, and Konza seems like a pretty good bench to me. Konza's your only risk there. Like, how is your bench better next week? I'm not going to work out what your bench would be because I don't know what your transfers would be. I've got the same 11, but my bench is Sales, Milenkovic, Aitner, and Strand Larsen. Is this worth a bench boost? Honestly, guys, I'm going to keep giving you the same answer back. When will your bench be better? If the answer is I don't know, then you should probably bench boost. Like, Sales good, Milenkovic good, Aitner and Strand Larsen playing against a Spurs side that will probably rotate. Strand Larsen's looking pretty good. Spurs is not a bad defensive target. When will you have a better bench than that? Is Martinez, Savinho, Konza, Forest defender worth bench boost 32? Again, all good, all pretty good options. Konza a slight risk, Savinho a slight risk, although I think Savinho will start. When will your bench be better? I want to bench boost, but have Saka and Rodgers. Would you go Saka to part? No, because you'll want Saka next week. I would only do that if you've got lots of transfers to spare, but I doubt many people are in that position. Savinho to Eze for a hit, bench boost 32. I would want to be tripled up on Palace, so I would probably do... Yeah, I'd probably do that. At least Eze's nailed. Start one, Saka, Rodgers, Konza, Vardiol, or bench boost with 1 free transfer. I mean, you've got potentially 3 risks there, so I'm not sure I would bench boost that. But again, when will you have a better bench than that? Start one of them, probably Vardiol for safety. If you want to take a risk, Saka or Rodgers. Best Villa midfielder to attack Southampton and cover the double. Rodgers, probably. Honestly, I don't think Rodgers necessarily... Like, if you want to attack Southampton and cover the double, I think it's impossible. Like, Marlon will probably start against Southampton and then might not start any in the double. Rashford probably won't start Southampton, maybe 1 or 2 in the double. Asensio probably starts Southampton, but then how many of 33 does he start? I don't know. Rodgers will probably start both in 33. Would he start 32? I don't know, but he could do. So hopefully that helps. I think Rodgers is the best for minutes. I think if I was taking a risk on someone else, it would probably be Asensio. Gordon to Murphy or play Gordon/Savinho. I'd probably get Murphy, to be honest. Do you play Championship Manager? I don't. Just started 0102 Absolute Classic. I don't play that now, but I used to, yeah. Obviously a long time ago, like 20 odd years. I have played it since, I think, but not recently. The most important question, how am I doing this morning? I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Hope you are as well. -4 for Gordon to Murphy. Oh, I'd be tempted, honestly. I don't think Gordon starts against Man United. The running's going pretty well, to be honest. Like, I'm not very fast, but I'm running. I think you can class it as running, so that helps. Like, it's pretty cool because I started Couch to 5K like in February, like maybe the first week of February or the second week. And I just skipped the last week of Couch to 5k and just ran a 5k. And then ever since then, I've just ran 5k 3 times a week. So it's going pretty well. You're in Ireland. Take that shirt off now. No. No, I will not. Now, I wouldn't necessarily wear it out of my house, but there we go. Start Kivior or Vardio. I guess it's the same as Saliba, right? I'd probably start Vardio. There's something about Saliba that would make me start him ahead. I'm on bench boost 33. I have a 60-point mini-league lead with Chasers on assistant managership. Should I triple captain Isak now or wait for 36? You should not worry about what your mini-league is doing and triple captain when you think is the best. Sorry, you triple captain when you think you're going to get the most points. What if there's no doubles in game week 36? They're not guaranteed. Now, I will say, the fixture gurus, like James, Tala, Ben, etc., they seem to be more positive that there will be doubles in 36. Now, none of them are guaranteeing it. I'm not trying to throw any of them under the bus, but the way they're talking about it now, they seem to be a little bit more positive that there could be doubles in 36. But having looked at who, like, hang on, let me see if I can bring this up right now. How do I do this? I guess I just do this image. Let me just find it a second. This will be helpful, I think. 32. Oh yeah. So let me just do I put it there? Okay, that's a bit of a mess, but anyway, I'll change it later on. If there's doubles in 36, it'll be based on, or at least it should be based on, who gets through to the FA Cup final. They would the idea would be they'd blank in 37, so would their opponent, and then that would get pushed to 36. So the potential options are on your screen now for 36. But let's say you're looking at that and thinking, well, Chris Wood versus Leicester at home and West Ham away, that could be great. But if Forest lose to Man City in the FA Cup, which is more likely, then that double wouldn't happen. You could look at it and say, well, hang on, Man City are more likely to win. Therefore, Marmoush could have Southampton away and Bournemouth at home. Marmoush's minutes by that point might not be great. They will be if Haaland is out. But what if Haaland's starting to get back to fitness? And also, Marmoush doesn't definitely have penalties. Isak does. You know, at least if you believe Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall, you know that Isak is fit right now. Any of these players you want to go for might not be fit at the time. You know, Ollie Watkins might not even be starting. You might not want to risk Rashford's minutes. Mateta's not bad, Spurs away and Wolves home, but are any of them better than Isak? Like, definitely better than Isak? I don't think they are. The biggest thing for 36 is it's going to be massively differential. Most people will not save their triple captain for them. I never said Marmoush isn't nailed. I said if Haaland is back by then there's potential issues. And if you want to say he's nailed anyway, well, explain the benching a couple of weeks ago. So that's your potential options for 36. So again, personally, I would get it used this week or next, probably. I don't think 36 is that exciting, but it is differential. So if that's what you want to do, go for it. But just remember, your triple captain is only worth one. Like, if Isak gets 15 points this week, your triple captain is worth 15 points. So even if Isak only gets 10 this week and Marmoush goes and gets 15 in 36, you've lost 5 points. If you have both Isak and Marmoush in your team for both those weeks. Because you can still captain Marmoush later. Like, people, every season, people overthink the triple captain, that it's worth like 60 points. It's not. If someone gets 60 with triple captain, the triple captain was worth 20. I'm just going to quickly do this a second. I found something to get the thing out of my tooth, so I didn't want to gross anyone out. But I'm still talking about it. Right, where did I get to with all these lovely questions? Bench boost 32 versus 33. I would go with whichever week your bench is better. Basically, I don't know what more I can say. Top of my mini league, do you think Arteta will score similar to Glasner next 2 despite 1 game less? I think he has potential to do that, yes. Gabriel to Arteta is less scary than selling Munoz. Yeah, but the thing is, you're not... If you sell Munoz, you're not going to be buying another double game week, so you lose the fixture there, right? So it probably makes more sense to sell Gabriel and get Arteta and keep Munoz. Like, I haven't thought about that very much until you just asked the question, but gut feeling is, yeah, you just do Arteta. Triple captain Marmoush for 33 if you still had it. I would probably go Isak this week or Saka next week, but yeah, Marmoush is a nice punt next week. Yeah, absolutely. He'll definitely still be playing next week. Do I triple captain Isak or bench boost? Sell Saka, 8 Nuri, Savinho as subs, or Saka, Marmoush, triple captain next week. The thing is, what's your bench next week? If your bench is not that much better, then and you're happy to triple captain Salah next week, then I think that's fine. Like, Sales, 8 Nuri, Savinho, Saka is okay, I think, this week. What's the bench next week? Like, I think the bench boost, if you can get it right, is probably worth more than the triple captain, I would say. So if you've got a much better bench next week, I would triple captain Isak this week, definitely. If your bench is going to be rubbish next week, I'd probably take the punt on Saka captain. Thoughts on Jacob Murphy captaincy? I think it's fine if you don't own Isak. Probably. Alex, thank you. Marmoush to Mateta and back to Marmoush next week. Can you not just get a different Crystal Palace player in without having to sell Marmoush? Because you'll definitely want Marmoush next week. So it's like 2 transfers. Doesn't make much sense to me. Start 2 of Saliba, Vardy, Saka or Rodgers. Probably the first 2 for safety and minutes. If they were all guaranteed to start, obviously I would say Saka and Rodgers, but which Newcastle player to pick that's not a defender alongside Isak and Murphy, or just get Eze? I'd just get Eze. Start 2 of Saka, Rodgers, Asensio, or Konza. Asensio and Rodgers probably. Like, Saka could start. Let me just say that. Saka could start. I might have it massively wrong. Best assistant manager chip strategy now. Oh, great question. I haven't thought about assistant manager at all this week. Like, presumably you don't want to play it now because of the blank in 34, so you want to save it for like 35, 37, or 36 to 38. But if you're not playing a chip, you could use it now and go Arteta maybe. But then he blanks in 34, so you'd have to use a transfer that week. So, like, what other chips do you still have to use? I think for most people, if you've not already popped your assistant manager and you're not waiting 30 to 35 or 36, there could be doubles in 36 as well. Could be. Would I take 85 plus points? No, I'd want to hit 100 this week, I think, at least. 6 double game week players and a bench boost. That's 100 plus. Palmer's got Ipswich at home. Salah's got West Ham at home. Yeah, come on. Give me 100 at least. Who's on assistant manager at the moment? Who hasn't used their assistant manager? Help me out here. My feeling is you now save it until after the blank in 34. Salah new contract boost to inspire a Hall. Salah blank because he's got the contract now. I don't know. You can frame it either way, I guess. No bench boost. Triple captain Isak this week or Saka next? Great question. I think Isak's the safer choice this week. I think Isak's the safer choice because Saka's got 2 more games to get through before he plays in 33. Can you guarantee his minutes? I think Saka will start both in 33, but it's just a guess, right? Salah most expensive next season now. He'll have to be, yeah. He can't be... Like, Haaland, they might price... there is a chance they price Haaland and Salah the same, I think. Like, maybe both 14. But given previous seasons, I suspect they'll do Salah 14 and then Haaland 13, something like that. Are you combining the points of both game weeks for Sleeper? No. I just didn't do it last week, so I wasn't organised enough. And there was so... Basically, in game week 31 on Sleeper, 1 person got 9 predictions, so I don't even need to do a draw for that. Game week 30, there was about 20 people, and I just didn't have it sorted for the deadline stream, and I had to go straight out afterwards. I've got it organised now. I've got the list. I'll do it at the end of this stream. How many teams will blank in 33 and 27? Huh? None. Unless I'm missing something there. 33 is a double. 27, I mean, that's long gone now. 29 was the blank. On assistant manager, have Minosa as a liver... I guess for assistant manager, you could activate it now on Glasner for back-to-back doubles or Arteta and then just make a transfer in 34. That could also work, I guess. Have Minosa as a Livermento Murphy. Do I sacrifice for Howe or Glasner, attacker or defender? Do you just not use the assistant manager this week? What does it have to be used this week? selling a double game week just to act. I don't know. It doesn't sound great, does it? To me, like, because if you go Newcastle, you're not gaining a fixture because you could just go for a double game week and next week, right? So you're only gaining the fixture if you go for Glasner. I don't know. My feeling is you just don't use it. If you have to activate it, then I guess you sell. I don't know. Am I thinking about this wrong? If you go Eddie Howe, I guess. Oh no, I guess you could go double game week, and just switch manager next week. I just wouldn't. I don't think I would sell any of them. I just don't think I would use my assistant manager this week. Am I missing something? If you have to sell one of them, I don't know. Who'd you sell? They're like you've got like 6 really good players. I guess Munoz. And I don't really like it, but I'm going to say Munoz. Just because I don't see a clean sheet for either of these 2 games. Just hope he doesn't get attacking returns. Whereas Newcastle double's pretty good. But then that's why you want Eddie Howe as well. I really don't know. I guess Munoz. Pick 2. Vardio, Saliba, own Saliba. Oh, it's pick 2. Okay, Rodgers and... No, Saliba and Vardio, I think. For minutes. Isn't building a team with key players for teams in relegation Champions League qualification battle in mind and then bench boost on a key week worth it? I mean, you should just bench when you've got a good bench. Like I think people overcomplicate this. Like the relegation argument, I really don't think has any weight this year. Like those 3 teams are going to get relegated, and there's a reason they're going to get relegated because they're not very good. No offense to Ipswich, Southampton, and Leicester fans. And so targeting their players does not seem like a great strategy to me. Champions League qualification, absolutely. Because they're better teams and they've still got something to play for. The teams in the bottom 3 are getting relegated. I think they all realise that at this point. Like Southampton are down already. Leicester won't be long, and Ipswich is just not going to get past Wolves. Bench 2, play 2. Saka, Vardio, Rashford, Rodgers. Vardio and Rodgers or Saka. I'm going to say Rodgers. I'm going to be consistent, but Saka could start and Rodgers could get benched. Bench boost with Sells, Odegaard, Aït-Nouri, Kivior. Again, when will your bench be better than that? Probably not that soon, so I'd probably just go with it. Do you now find that with all the content creators on FPL that it's making the game much harder to improve in your leagues? Yes, I think it's been the case for a while. I don't think you can really stop it, to be honest. Like, yeah. Activated assistant manager last week. Who else do I use as assistant manager then? I mean, you could just go to Arteta. Like, what was the plan when you Who did you put it on last week? And what was the plan? Like, if the plan was to go to Glasner, then sell Munoz. Otherwise, maybe Arteta, because you get the double next week, which is pretty good. Thoughts on Diaz over Eze for Game Week 32? Nope. I would just play Eze. For Game Week 33 midfield. Single Game Week players. Well, I guess Liverpool, if you can figure out who's definitely going to start. Other good single Game Week fixtures next week. In Burmo versus Brighton, probably, or Bowen versus Southampton. I'd rather go for either of those than a Liverpool midfielder. Is it worth doing Gordon to Murphy? I think it is, yeah. Sell Gay, Clivert for Munoz, Murphy for a -4, yes. Any City leaks? Is Savino starting? No and don't know, I would say. I think he probably will, but I can't guarantee it. Clivert to Eze seems like a pretty easy move if you've only got 2 Palace players. Do you know what Pep said for Foden to be yellow flagged? Yeah, he said he was a doubt. He said, Phil, for the injury he had at Old Trafford, he's a doubt. The rest are okay, except for Haaland, Akanji, Stones, and Ake. And Rodri, obviously. Really wanted to bench boost this week and triple captain Saka next, but got Saka, Konza, and Rodgers, so just too risky. Yeah, so going triple captain this week and bench boost next week might be better. Which is fine. Absolutely fine. Keeping Burmo long term. I think Burmo is pretty good after this week, yeah? I think a lot of people will be looking to buy in Burmo soonish. Triple captain Isak now or Salah next week. Bench boost is mid both weeks. So again, I think Isak's a bit safer. But I think on paper, if Saka starts both games next week, he's arguably better. Like that's all. That's what I can give you. Like you have to make the decision after that. When would I use it? It's really hard to say because like it's easier to say something than actually do it. I have a feeling if I had the triple captain, I'd probably just be using it this week. But deep down, I'd want to play it on Saka because I think he's going to be a big differential, and it's like not in terms of ownership, but in terms of triple captain. And it's Ipswich away and Palace at home, like that could be big scores. But he could also just be benched in one, so it's riskier. Whereas I'm not as worried as everyone else about Isak's fitness. And I could be wrong about that. Like maybe Isak gets benched against Man United. Maybe he will. Saka, Rodgers, Timber, Munoz, Sarr, Mateta, bench 3. Well, probably the 3 without double game weeks. Start Bowen or Cunha. Or Cunha's not starting. According to the manager, Cunha is not starting. He was asked whether he'd come back into the team, and he said no, the 11 will remain the same, or something like that. So that answers that. Gordon to Barnes. I would probably go Gordon to Murphy. Because the problem is, Gordon's a problem. The problem is, Gordon's a problem. Also, if Gordon gets a start, that means Barnes probably doesn't. Besides Isak, Marmoush, what are the forward options besides Mateta? So... I don't know why you worded it like that. Besides Isak, Marmoush, what are the best forward options besides Mateta? So besides Isak, Marmoush and Mateta. Evan Nilsson's not bad. I don't mind João Pedro, but he could get benched the odd time. But he's got Leicester at home this week, which is quite nice. Strand Larson, maybe. Ideally, you want Cunha soon if he's going to get back into the team, but we have to wait for that to happen now. I don't think there really are too many other forwards that I would look at. Like, the options are pretty low at the moment. Like after 34, Evan Nilsson does have Arsenal away and City away in 3 games, which isn't great. Chris Wood would maybe be okay if we knew he was definitely starting. Watkins I wouldn't go for at the moment just in case. It's probably Evan Nilsson. I mean Jackson this week could be great, but I'm not quite sure about his fitness. So I guess Evan Nilsson or João Pedro if you want to take the risk on his minutes because it's Leicester this week. Is there a forward I'm missing? There seems like there's not that many options at the moment. I messed up my wildcard, tried to do it in 4 minutes before the deadline, so my bench sucks. Do you think triple captain is worth doing this week, Isak or Murphy? I think triple captain is pretty good this week, yeah. Isak for me is the clear best captain ahead of Murphy, but Murphy could do well. The interesting thing is, everyone's worried about Isak's minutes, right? So they're looking at Murphy, and I get it, right? There's a slight doubt about Isak's fitness in a lot of people's eyes compared to Murphy. But we're talking about a Jacob Murphy that was sub 71 and 65 minutes the last 2 game weeks. Exactly the same as Isak. So why is there all this concern about Isak's minutes but not Murphy? Like Murphy often, or every now and then, will get subbed early as well. He's not a 90-minute man every single week guaranteed. He has played 90 quite a lot recently, but still. Foden has a yellow flag. Did I miss this? No, you've just noticed it. So you didn't miss it. My team. Bench boost in 32 or 33. Okay. By the way, if you, just for anyone else that's thinking about asking me when to bench boost, I don't need to see the rest of the team. Just tell me what your bench is in 32 and 33. Like, it's the easiest way to do it. I can't even work. Yeah, I'm not going to work out what your bench is this week and next week. You'll have to let me know what it is. Like, I don't know. Palmer, Isak out, Watkins, Saka in. I can't even. Salah, Sarr, Murphy, Rodgers, Marmoush, Mateta, Isak. So what's your bench this week and next week? I don't need to see the whole team. I can't even work out. So your bench is probably Martinez, Vardiol, Rodgers, and someone else. So bench boost 32 looks quite good. Will your bench be better in 33? Like, what is your bench in 33? I can't. I don't really know what else to say about your bench. Like you should be benching whenever you've got the better bench. So what's your bench in 33? I feel like I'm going to say that a million times in the next hour, 23 minutes. Would you start Bowen over Saka Rodgers? Probably. It doesn't feel great, by the way. I understand that, but probably. Amaza, thank you. No bench boost. Start Raya, Martinez, Raya, and Saliba Vardio. Saliba, but you honestly flip a coin. You could go the other way. Bench boost 32, -4 versus 33. So Martinez, Konza, Marmoush. Marmoush, really? Kirker's nice. Or Martinez double game week, Kirker's Crystal. This is Patrick. This is the perfect way to put it. Not only have you just done bench boost in 32 and your bench in 33, but you've also given me the fixtures because I'm an idiot and I might forget what they are. So in your case, okay, so if you're taking the -4 anyway, I think you could argue 32 is better. If you're only taking the -4 to get a good bench out, and then in 33, you could just do it without the hit, I think 33 is better. If that makes sense. Bruno Guimaraes to Minter to bring in Howe. Selling Bruno sounds good to get Howe, yeah. Minter, I guess so, yeah. Good fixture this week. I don't think you can guarantee his minutes, but he should start the majority of games. Kivior, Nico Williams, Milenkovic, Bradley for game week 32, 33. Ooh. Oh, well, I'd definitely go double game week, so I'd go Kivior. I was about to think about that, and then I realised only one of them has a double next week. Went back to final thoughts to check bench and headaches. Yeah, but I forgot to put Rodgers in there, by the way. Going against your advice, even though that cost me 28 points last week. Yeah, that's fine. So many of the benching decisions are hard this week. Like, anyone that... I've said this so many times already. If you want to play Vardio over Saliba, you should just play Vardio, honestly. It's so close. I could almost flip a coin and have that to decide. We overthink things an awful lot in FPL. Most of the times when we overthink, we make worse decisions. Just push the button and take the chance. I think it's worth thinking about. I think when it comes to chips, because you only get one, people just really don't want to mess it up. I completely understand that, right? And I'm saying this as someone that's never got a good score with triple captain. Okay, so I always mess that chip up. But I do kind of agree that because people are using a chip, they start thinking about things they wouldn't usually think about. Like, yeah, the fact there's a double next week, I think, is almost confusing people because it doesn't make sense to not bench boost in a double. But because there's only 4 teams doubling, you can only have a maximum of 12 double game week players. So a couple of your players, at a minimum 2 players, probably for most people 3, maybe even 4, are going to be single game weekers next week. So the fact it's a double doesn't necessarily matter in terms of what your actual bench is. Is Munoz really the best option as a defender? He won't score goals in all the games and can't keep a clean sheet in any of them. I mean, he could keep a clean sheet and he could score. I would play Munoz over any single game week player this week, personally. Just because of what he offers going forward as well. He could absolutely walk away with like 2 to 4 points. I'm not denying that, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I just think there's enough upside there that I wouldn't play a single game week defender over him. But your bench boost has no doubles. Yes, and next week it would have 1 double. This is not a vape; it's a USB stick. I would never vape. I'm a runner now, did I not tell you? What happened to Kushinov from 90 minutes to not in the squad? Yeah, I think he just had a bad game or 2. They said it was a rest when he wasn't in the squad. He might be back in this week, but I would not be buying him. Any chances of Villa keeping clean sheets because they don't keep clean sheets? Sheets normally also, what are the chances for Chelsea keeping clean sheets? I mean, pretty good against Ipswich, I would say. Will Villa keep a clean sheet? Probably not. Thoughts on Asensio over Rodgers? I think that's good for 32. I don't think it's good for the rest of the season. Can you please suggest a wildcard team for this week with a view to bench boost in 33? I'm not going to run through a whole wildcard team right now. It's probably very similar to what you see on screen. Like, go back and watch Game Week 30 wildcard videos, Game Week 31. It's quite similar. I would probably not have Palmer. I would have Saka, even though he's likely to get benched this week, because I'd want him ready for next week. I wouldn't necessarily have Martinez. I'd probably have... I wouldn't be able to fit... No, if you can afford it, I would go Evan Nielsen to Mateta and put Savinho in instead of one of the Palace players just because of their double next week. And then instead of Nico Williams, get like a Konza ready for next week as well. That's about it. I probably wouldn't change too much else. But I have only just thought about it right there. I am bench boosting 33. I'm thinking of attacking Arsenal with Mbermo and play Milenkovic instead of Saliba. Okay. Go for it. Kepa, Burn, Vardio, Munoz, Sasa, Carson, Dibbling, Gabriel, O'Shea, bench with 4 free transfers. What would you do? Well, I don't know what chips you've got, right? So your first 11 looks pretty good. I don't necessarily think you need too many moves there. If you want to bench boost, I would start upgrading that bench. But like, you're going to have to tell me what moves you're thinking about doing, what chips you're looking to play. Like, I'm not going to look through people's teams and tell them all their transfers they should make. Like, I don't have time on a deadline stream to, to look through someone's whole team and tell them their strategy. Really, you need to have a think about what you might want to do, and then if you want an opinion on like a couple of transfers, happy to give some thoughts. Would you do Odegaard to Saka or any other move or role? I would keep Odegaard. I think because Saka could get benched again. Just get Saka next week. Bench boost 32. Raya, Timber, Rogers, Konza, or 33 with 2 double game week players. Well, you've got 3 doubts this week. Timber, Konza, and Rogers, so I'd probably delay. Raya or Edison? Raya, Konza, Saliba, Vardio, Saliba, Rogers, Saka, Rogers. Team. Want Murphy, but sensible with a defender's share. Well, you could do Kluivert to Murphy. Oh, but you've got to sell a defender. Yeah, that makes sense because you got Gabriel and Aina. Fair enough. Yeah. Shah differential. Sure, I quite like Dan Burn for the money saving, but yeah, I don't mind Share. Did I say Shah? Share. Gabriel out. Kivior, Bradley in. I would go Kivior. Yeah, for the double. Saliba if you can afford it, but if not, Kivior. Vardio or Konza, as I've got 3 Palace forwards and Marmoush. Vardio or I would go Vardio. I wouldn't take the risk on Konza's minutes. I think you can argue Vardio is better anyway, to be honest. Marmoush or Palmer. Oof. Oh my God. Palmer, I think you've got to play him if you've got him. Start Saka, Rogers, Konza or Saliba. Saliba for minutes. If they all start, it's Saka. I think Rogers is more likely to start than Saka, but I think they both could get benched. So Saliba for the minutes. If you don't want to play Saliba, then Rogers. Play 1, bench 2. Saka, Rogers, Saliba, Vardio. Again, probably Saliba. Arsenal will rotate this week, so who should I play? Any 2, Mbermo, Visser or Wanyeri. There are chances we might concede. Yeah, there's also a chance you get a clean sheet. I would start Mbermo over Visser and Wanyeri. Should I bench boost this week? I've got Vardio conflicting with Palace attackers, but otherwise quite a good bench. Then yeah. Will you have a better bench in the future? If not, go for it. Like, bear in mind that Vardio could score and Palace could score. Like, there's all like I do understand, like, you don't want attackers playing against defenders, ideally, but it's not the end of the world. Like, your Palace attackers could blank against City, Vardio could go and get a 9-pointer, maybe he gets a goal and it's a 15-pointer, and then Palace attackers smash Newcastle, right? And then you still get the appearance points. There's all these things that could happen. Ultimately, if you've got a good bench and you're not going to have a better bench, you should play your bench boost. Savinho to Asensio, I wouldn't do that, no. It could be worth it this week. I'm not as sure long term. Morning. Gabriel to Saliba and Gordon to Murphy for -4 as I want all my players to play maximum minutes for my bench boost this week. Is it worth it? Yes. Play Vardio or Nico Williams, bench and Konza. Probably Vardio, I think. I wouldn't go out of your way to bench Vardio. Like, Saliba, fair enough, but I think Vardio's pretty good this week. I'm watching from Bondi Beach. Very nice. Hopefully it's warm. Start Saka or Foden or bench both and start Vardio on a back 4. I think I'd go back 4. Imagine, oh God. Can I just, I'm going to say this closer to the deadline when the maximum amount of people are watching. I please don't come back later on today and tell me that I'm an idiot because Saka and Foden started. They could both start. But Pep has said that Foden's a doubt. We know Saka's not started a Premier League game yet. We know he's going to start against Real Madrid, so they might not risk it. I think we've got to assume that Foden and Saka probably don't start this week. But Saka could start. Maybe Arteta won't want to go complete change. Who knows? What about triple captain Murphy? Again, I don't mind it if you don't own Isak. I've actually got Eze as my backup, but actually I might change it to Murphy. Not sure. I'm going to keep it on Eze. I'm going to keep it on Eze. Hanoi, Vietnam, checking in. Start Ray or Henderson. I'd go for the double game week here. I want to triple captain Saka and bench boost this week, but I have Saka and Rashford. What's your thoughts? I think both of them could be benched. So 2 risks on a bench boost does not necessarily sound great. One thing to remember is, this is going to sound really obvious, you're trying to get the most points you can, right? That is the aim in FPL. I know sometimes you might look at my decisions and think, hang on, why are you not trying to get the most points? But you're trying to get the most points. And when you're playing your chips, you're trying to get the most points from them combined, which might mean if you think so what I'm trying to say is if you think Saka is better than Isak, then obviously Saka is the better triple captain. But for your specific team, it might be better to triple captain Isak to have a better bench boost in 33. You're trying to get the most points from the 2 combined. It's the same argument that, free hit 33 in game week 33 will score more points than free hit in 34, but it doesn't matter. It's how many points you get over the course of all those game weeks. And for a lot of people, loading up on double game weeks 33, then free hitting in 34 might be better. It's the same thing with triple captain and bench boost. Does that make sense? Have I explained that in any way in a helpful manner? Probably not. What would you consider as a good total score from your bench alone? If I hit anywhere close to 20 points, I'll be pretty happy. So clean sheets are worth 6, right? So that's 18. Evan Nilsson goal, another 6, 24. If I get 24, I'm dreaming, honestly. If I get kind of 17, 18 plus, that's probably fine. Less than 16, that will kind of suck a bit, I think. Should I bring in Murphy for Wanyeri for a -4? Wanyeri might start, but Murphy's got the double. I'd probably do it, but there is a chance it backfires. Do I sell Bruno Fernandes for Saka? I'm on a bench boost. No, not this week. Do it next week. Morning. Park run done. Now continuing to fight to get inside top million. Good luck. Congratulations on your park run. I've never done a park run. I might do one at one point. I kind of just like running on my own, to be honest. Plus, I'm slow, so I don't really want to go to park run. I know not everyone's fast at a park run. I get it. Also, I do just like running on flat. I found that out the other day. I went running at like 11:30 in the morning. It was very hot, and I did this massive hill, and I went to walk a tiny bit. I thought my legs were going to collapse. So flat and chill weather is the dream. I just want the deadline now so I can set my bus team and activate bench boost. Yeah, I want to set my double game week team for next week. Besides Isak, Marmouche, what are the forward options besides Mateta for Wild? I already answered that last time you asked it. There isn't many. Evan Nilsson, João Pedro. No progress on distance. So that's what I was saying. So the other day when I went out about 11:30, it was really warm, and I felt pretty good. And I went out from my house 3 kilometers, and I thought I'll run back 3, so I'll hit 6 instead of 5. And at 4.8 kilometers, I just went to walk a tiny bit, and like my leg just like they were like jelly. Honestly, I thought I was going to collapse, so I just had to stop. I think it was just the heat in the hill probably. This is such a crappy game week. So many ifs and buts. I feel like you take what you can get and start again next week. For a lot of people, yeah, I got to be honest. I feel really good about my team. The fact that I feel good about it probably means it'll end up bad. But the only 2 risks I see for starts are Palmer and Martinez, and I'm pretty confident both will start. So I'm hoping I've got 15 starters, and I'm also hoping that all 6 of my double game weekers will start twice. So I know people have got like Foden and Saka and Rodgers and Konza. I got really lucky, by the way, because if you remember, which no one has actually reminded me of, so perhaps you've forgotten, I shouldn't remind you, at the end of the Game Week 30 deadline stream, I tried to change Martinez, Murphy, and Nico Williams to Pope, Rodgers, and Konza. Now, I wouldn't have been down many points because Rodgers obviously did really well last week, although I might have benched him. But this week I'd be in I'd be in a really, really bad position. So I got really lucky that move didn't go through at the end of the deadline stream. So I'll take the luck. Park run across from you is pretty flat, 80%. Yeah, I could probably do a park run. But the thing is, they're always on at 9:30 on Saturday mornings, and I'm always here. Maybe in the summer I might do them. Have 3 free transfers. Bench boost when? 32, 2 free transfers. Gabriel and Foden to Saliba Asensio. Bench. Martinez, Vardy, Saka, Asensio. Nice. 33, 3 free transfers. Livramento, Murphy, Gabriel. Bradley, 5.7 defender, Rodgers. Martinez, Foden, Bradley, Williams. I'm not sure Foden would realistically be on your bench in 33, but let's say he is. I think I would go... I'd go 33. Martinez is better. Foden's better than Saka, like specifically for 33. Although Foden could be a doubt still. Remember that. We don't know if he'll be fit. Bradley is... Vardy's probably better, but not by much. Nico Williams is slightly worse, but you get Foden and Martinez double game weekers. I think for you, I'd probably go 33. 1 free transfer. EK. Oh, Ezri Konza to dunk for bench boost. That sounds pretty good. I mean, Konza might start, but the fact that he got rotated against Forest would worry me a little bit. We need to get inside the mind of Unai Emery. I think Konza will get benched, so I'd go dunk, yeah. SGP if you could afford it. I have 1 transfer and concerned about 33. Is it worth bringing in Livramento for Kirkes, or should I roll and go double Villa in 33? I'd get Livramento, I think. Bench boost 32. Areola, Rodgers, Konza, Nico Williams. Okay. Bench boost 33. Areola better. Jacob. Oh. And Saka's in the team as well. I mean, that just sounds pretty hot. Both weeks sound pretty horrible. I'm not going to lie. Like, if Rodgers and Konza were definitely starting, I'd say this week. I think you've got to go next week. But they're both pretty horrible. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Bench 2 of Saliba, Vardy, Kirkes, Konza. I'd play Vardy and Saliba. I'm never doing a park run during the FPL season, that's for sure. But during the summer, I could do it. For sure. Do I have a favourite car park? I love the Dyke Road car park. In Galway, you know that. You know that. Saka or Rodgers? Oh, I'm gonna say Rodgers because I think there's slightly more chance he'll start, but it's not guaranteed. Why did you prefer Palmer over Evan Nielsen in Game Week 32? Palmer's playing Ipswich at home. That's it, really. Can someone tell me who his vice captain is? I cannot see it. It's Eze, although it probably should be Murphy. Maybe I should change it. No, I'm going to stick with Eze. It doesn't matter because Isak's going to start. Thinking to take Saka out for Palmer for -4 just for this week, then swap back. I'll guarantee having Palmer versus Leicester and not Saka starting risk. What if Palmer doesn't start? He probably will, though. I don't know. I probably wouldn't do that, personally, but I think Palmer could be good this week. If you weren't bench boosting, would you triple captain Isak this week? Maybe, but honestly, it's kind of... I'm not saying it's pointless to ask the question, but it's kind of pointless me trying to give a good answer because if I wasn't bench boosting, I wouldn't have this team. Do you know what I mean? Like, I made this team with bench boost in mind. And so would I triple captain? Maybe. But if I didn't need to use the bench boost next week, I'd maybe delay for Saka. Again, I think Isak's probably the safer move. But Saka could be great next week. Bench 1, Salah, Rodgers, Asensio. Come on now. Come on. Yeah, I said this on the members stream on Thursday. I have to clamp down on these questions. You can't ask me a question about benching and include Mo Salah. That should be an instant refusal to answer the question, in my opinion. I would bench Rodgers out of those. Am I going to free hit 33? No, I'm going to free hit in 34. And I might have to go into 33 with just 9 double game week players because I'm not sure if I'm going to want to do Isak to. I'm not sure if I'm going to want to do Isak to Watkins, and there's no other forwards. That's where Mateta might come in handy Because if you've got Mateta and Kluivert, then you might do Kluivert to like a Rashford punt or a Savinho, so you can get to 10 double game weekers plus Salah. But for me, my only real route to get 10 double game weekers plus, I could go for another defender, I suppose. I don't think I'll have the money though. Yeah, my only route really is Isak to Watkins, and I just don't know if I'm going to want to do that. Chelsea shouldn't do anything funny with their lineup. Their Champions League spot is far from guaranteed. But we thought that last week against Brentford, and they rotated quite a bit. So, if we got a leak that Marmoush was benched, would you cancel your bench boost? I don't think so. Maybe. I'd maybe just put Marmoush on the bench instead of Evan Nilsson. Oh God, don't make me have to think about that, please. Please don't. I've just said that I'm hoping to have 15 starters out this week. Maybe that's worth considering, though. Have there been any other questions other than bench boost or triple captains? So what is your biggest mistake of the season? Oh, I don't know. There's probably too many to list. I don't know. I don't know if I've made any absolute massive errors. There's been a lot of 50-50s I feel like have gone bad. Like not buying Cunha and then not buying Cunha again the week after probably wasn't great. Bench boost. Martinez, Bradley, Saka, Saliba. I mean, that looks... here we go. 33. Emmy, Bradley, Isak. I'd go 33 in your case. Bradley's probably better next week. Martinez is better next week. Isak is better than Saka. So only Saliba is better than Livramento. I go 33. Sell Matoma for another hit. My wildcard. No, I'd probably keep him. There is a chance he starts. Would you start Saka or Rodgers? Probably Rodgers, but they both probably get benched. Glasner and Livramento or Howe and Eze? Howe and Eze. 50 points off number one with free hit 34 and wildcard 35. Oh, yeah, I think you can claw back that 50. I'd probably go Eddie Howe and Eze, I think. Bench boost 32. Raya, Evan Nielsen, Konza, 8 Nuri, and triple captain Saka 33. Okay. Raya, Evan Nielsen, Konza, 8 Nuri. Pretty good. Bench boost 33. Henderson, double. Evan Nielsen, Palace away. Murphy, triple captain, he's at 32. Damn. Double. Worst fixture. Better than Konza. Livramento. Is Livramento that much worse than 8 Nuri? Oh my God, that's close. If Konza starts, it's really close, but he might not. I think I would triple captain Isak 32 and bench boost 33 in your case. I think if you're looking at it thinking I want to go the other way, just do it because it's really close. But I think I'd go triple captain Isak. Start one of Rashford, Saka or Konate. Konate for the minutes. Otherwise, Saka probably. Excuse-moi. Is Rodgers to Marlon worth the free transfer on bench boost? Probably not, because you'll want Rodgers back next week, I think. Again, it's all about the points overall, not just necessarily from one specific chip. So I think keeping Rodgers will get you more points long-term than just getting Marlon for this week. But it is Southampton, right? So Marlon could go and score a brace because Southampton are just that bad. Already starting Raya in your three defenders. Start one, Saka, Foden, Vardiol. Well, yeah, I don't think Foden's going to start. Like, Pep saying he's a doubt. I believe what he says. If you suggest Foden, do you suggest alternative if Foden's not starting? Yeah, Vardiol. You don't have to sell Foden this week in your case. Petter. You missed my super chat. Let me see. Oh, I did miss... Oh, yeah. Saliba or... Sorry, this is not yours, but I did miss a few. Saliba or Vardy, I've got Raya and I'm chasing. Saliba, I guess. It's close. I don't know if I did. Okay, sorry. You don't have to apologise for sending the whole team. I'm just saying I can't look for a whole team and figure out what your bench is in 32 and 33. That's all. Best Clive at replacements, by the way. Murphy, Eze, Sarr, if you're not already tripled up. Otherwise, Rodgers and take the risk, maybe. Okay, bench 32. Martinez, Vardiol, Ruben, Rodgers. Pretty nice. Rodgers probably the only slight risk there. Bench 33. Martinez double. Livramento worse than Vardiol. Murphy better than Rodgers probably. Sarr double. Oof. In your case, you got two doublers in 33. I'd probably go for 33, but it's really close. I would also probably argue that is Sarr really on your bench for 33? Probably not, right? Martinez or Raya. Yeah, Raya. But it's a really close. Like Raya and Martinez is probably as close as Saliba versus Vardiol, in all honesty. Saka, Saliba or Rodgers. Saliba for the minutes, I think. I should say this though. I mean, there's a lot of people that are considering benching Saka and playing like a back four, and they will not be able to cope if Saka starts. So for some of you, you might be better off starting Saka, and at least you'll feel less bad if he's benched compared to if you go Saliba and Saka starts. For Game Week 32, I've got 6 double Game Week players, and for Game Week 33, I've got 9. I was thinking to bench boost next week. We have a similar team. But it doesn't matter how many double Game Week players you've got. It matters what your bench is. So again, is your bench better in 32 or 33? That's the week whichever week is best, that's when you should use it. Forget about how many double Game Week players you've got, because they're all going to be in your team. They're not going to be on your bench. Would you start Saka or Savinho? Savinho. Not sure. How sure is Saka to start now? Is it still smart to start Marmoush and bench Saka? I would play Marmoush, yeah. Rodgers, or should I start Konza, Vardy, or Savinho? I'd start Savinho, I think. If you got Savinho, I would just hope that the benching last week was a bit of a rest and that it'll come back in. Villa have 4 clean sheets in a row versus Southampton, whilst Arsenal conceded versus Brentford in the last several games. Yeah, fair enough. Like, again, it's pretty close. If you want to start Martinez, you absolutely should. When is the best time for Wildcard if no other chips are available? The team looks all right this week. I think if you don't need to use it before the double in 33, you're just going to use it after. So it's going to be 34 or 35 for most people. And if you're happy with your team this week and next, then saving it until 34 or 35 could be really handy if doubles drop into 36. I don't understand what you mean about it's only the players on your bench, not the... So when someone says, I've got 6 double game week players this week and 9 next week, so I was thinking to bench boost next week, the double game week players don't matter. They're going to be in your 11. Your bench boost is about the players on the bench. I don't really know how else I can explain it. The double game week players are not going to be on your bench. They should be in your 11. So they've gotten... It doesn't matter that you have those double game week players when you're deciding on your bench. Like, what is your bench? That's all you have to consider. I don't think there's any other way I can explain it more clearly than that. I am a bit of an idiot, so maybe there is, but... Bench boost 32, Martinez, Savinho, SG... I love this now. We're starting to get in some good formatted questions. Bench boost 32, Martinez, Savinho, Estupinian, and Savinho. I got to be honest, right? Without looking at your bench boost 33, I think I'm going to say 32. That's a really good bench. Bench boost 33, Martinez, Rodgers, Konza, Bradley. Are Rodgers and Konza really on your bench? They got double game weeks, so that means you're playing... Fair enough if you're playing Salah, right? Plus 10 double game weekers, but you're not benching both Rodgers and Konza, are you? So who's really on your bench? The way you've set that up, I think your bench in 33 is better because of the doubles, but I don't believe that all those doubles are on your bench. I think maximum of 2 doublers really on your bench. Because that means you're playing 2 single game week players. And so if you've got someone like Isak, I don't think he's better than Rodgers in 33. Gay, Gabriel, in which case, let's say you do have Isak, then it's a lot closer. I'd probably still go next week, so it doesn't really matter what I just said. Gay, Gabriel to Minos, Timber might not start. I go Kivior. But otherwise, the plan seems good. If you still had triple captain with bench boost, what would be your transfer plan? and chip strategy for 32 and 30. Honestly, I would have to go back in time, right? I would change my Game Week 30 team. I suspect I would triple captain Isak and probably bench boost 33, but I really haven't thought about it. Because that's not how I've set up. So my team is completely different. I wouldn't have Nico Williams if I was going to bench boost 33. So I would transfer him out for Konza probably, but that's not realistic because most of you won't have Nico Williams if you're planning on bench boost 33. Bench boost 32, 33. I've got Saka, Saliba, Raya, Matsurawi on the bench. What's your bench next week? I mean, that bench seems okay-ish. Verbruggen over Raya, yes. Mateta captain over Isak, not for me, but if you want to go for it, do it. Would you start Saka or Savinho? Savinho. Doo-doo. If you are lying about who you're benching for your bench boost probably isn't that good. Not necessarily. Will you be on Black Box next week? Don't think so, no. Play Canate. I've not been asked anyway. Play Canate over Saliba and Vardio. I would play Saliba and Vardio over Canate, but it's all pretty close. Start one Vardio over Saka and Rodgers, I think, for the minutes. Start one of Saka, Vardio, Savinho, Milenkovic, Savinho. Triple captain Isak now, or will there be a better opportunity? Saka next week, double game week. Marmoush next week, double game week. Potential doubles in 36, not guaranteed. Isak's very good triple captain. The only reason I think people are questioning Isak is because he blanked last week, and because there's like this fitness concern, which I don't think is really there, personally. Like back when the Newcastle Palace double got announced in 32, everyone said they were going to triple captain Isak, and now it's got to here. There's elements of doubt creeping in. No free hit in 34. Need Gabriel replacements for bench boost 32, but can't take blankers. Is Cucurella or Van Dijk a risk? Yeah, Cucurella is okay because in 34 it's Everton, so hopefully he starts both games. Van Dijk's not a risk for minutes, definitely not. But in 34 it's Spurs at home, which I guess is okay. Yeah, I'd probably go Van Dijk out of the two if you can afford it. Triple captain 32 Isak and bench boost 33 Martinez, Evan Nielsen, Livramento, Nico Williams, or bench boost 32 Saka, Saliba. In your case, the Saka risk is so annoying. I think your bench is better this week, so I'd be tempted to go triple captain 33 Saka. But there is some risk there. Like, one thing to consider, right, with triple captain Saka, let's just say he has a slight hamstring twinge in the Real Madrid game where he's not out for a long time, but they don't want to risk him. Will you be happy going Marmoush captain next week instead? If yes, then absolutely back Saka. If not, then maybe just use it on Isak. But I think in your case, your bench is better this week. Just about. Best defenders outside Palace and Newcastle, probably City and Arsenal. In my opinion, Saliba's not 100% safe considering no Gabriel and Real Madrid coming. Yeah, but I think he'll start. Who else is going to start? Like for Saliba not to start, Ben White would have to play centre back, and then if they're going to rest Timber, who plays right back? I think Saliba will play. Like, would I put 100% guarantee on it? No, but I'd probably go 95 plus. Yeah, okay. Let me just bring this up. Let me just change this picture a second. So someone just asked, would my bench not be better in Game Week 33 because Martinez has a double that week? This is basically my bench in 32 and 33. So Martinez does have a double, but I think all three of the other players are worse than they are in 32 because of fixtures. And also 33, there's more stuff that could go wrong, right? So I think my bench is better this week. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's quite simple. This is all you have to do to figure out which week is better. I could make transfers, but this is already with 2 transfers made in my first 11. So this is so for game week 33, that's my bench once I do Palmer to Saka and Jacob Murphy to Rodgers or Savinho. So that's two transfers used. So any moves I make to make my bench better in 33 is for a hit. So honestly, I encourage all of you to go and figure out what your transfers are next week and what your bench will be, and then compare it to 32 and then just make a decision. Personally, I think despite the double for Martinez, my bench is better this week. At the very least, I don't think it's massively worse. So I'd rather just play it this week. And so next week, I don't have potential issues that could happen. You've messed this up big time. Have I? I've literally got potentially 15 starters in a week where everyone else seems to have an issue. I've got my bench active with 4 players that are almost certainly going to start. Like, I've got Palmer against Ipswich instead of Saka, who might get benched. So I don't think I've messed this up big time at all. In fact, I think it's gone pretty well with a bit of luck. I have double Arsenal on bench, so I won't bench boost. I mean, double Arsenal on bench seems pretty good to me. Would you prioritise a better bench boost or a better triple captain? Again, I would prioritise trying to get the most points from both. Like, I think bench boost is probably worth more if that happens, if you can nail it. Bench boost 32, Areola and Burmo, Nico Williams, Konza, or bench boost 33, Areola, Jacob Murphy, Nico Williams, Livramento. They're both quite nasty, I think. Honestly. Okay, so Konza might get benched, so you can argue that Livramento is better. Nico Williams is better this week. Jacob Murphy next week instead of in Burma. I think that's quite close, because in Burma's got penalties, and Areola's better next week. So Areola's better next week, Livramento's better next week, the other 2 are worse. Flip a coin. I guess this week, just because you know those players are fit, but Konza might get benched. Oh, but then you got Arsenal and Liverpool away. I'm going to say 33 for you. We need a gym vlog. I just don't know. I just don't think I'm that interested to do that. But we'll know. Bench boost now versus next week. Raya, Saka, Konza, Saliba, or Martinez, Salah. Again, let's be realistic. Salah's not on your bench next week. Come on. Come on. Come on. If you've got 11 double game week players, maybe Salah's realistically on your bench. I don't think that's the case for most people. But anyway, yes, your bench is better next week because you've got Salah on it. I want to bench Saka over Evan Nielsen, but I'm going to hate myself if Saka starts. Yeah, but like, I'm not saying this is easy necessarily, because FPL is like just honestly so frustrating so much of the time. But you have to go with the information you've got. And I think there's more chance that Evan Nielsen starts than Saka. And so you can console yourself that you've made the right decision, in my opinion. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Would you bring in Pope to bench Pickford for a -4? I'm on AM and still have Wildcard for PS. Cheers for just run. I guess you're a fitness influencer and how to. I think I'm a long way off that. I'm on AM and still have. Pickford has got Forest away -4. I don't think Pope is that useful to you after this week, especially if you've got all those chips left. So I'm going to say no. But I could be tempted to take a different -4 to get a different Newcastle player in, depending on who your other players are. Would you start Saka or Murphy? I mean, even if Saka was definitely going to start, I'd play Murphy. So bench one, Watkins, Rodgers, Martinelli, or Evan Nielsen. Martinelli. Because I think Martinelli and Rodgers could both get benched. I think Rodgers is more likely to start probably, and he's got the better fixtures slightly. I think Watkins will start. So that's quite nice for you. Looking for the most differential strategy, do you think more will do Isak triple captain? Isak triple captain, I think, will be higher this week than Saka Marmoush next week. Bench Saka or Foden. They're both doubts, so I guess you play Saka. Should I play Chris Wood? I think Chris Wood could start. So, yes, depending on who the other option is. Kluivert to Murphy for a hit. I'd be tempted to do that, yeah. You can argue long-term Kluivert's better, but again, he's a doubt for another week. going back and forth between Raya and Martinez. Flip a coin and then do the coin flip test like I did last week, right? And you'll know what you really want to do, whether it lands on the one you want or not. Keep Semenyo on a bench boost. Yes, definitely keep Semenyo on a bench boost. I wouldn't use a free transfer to Rodgers. Next week, yeah. Have Isak, Murphy, Livramento. AM is active from last week. Should I bring in Glasner and for which player? Or do you recommend any other AM given Glasner has 2 doubles? I'd be tempted by Arteta if you can afford it. And just keep your 3 Palace. You do lose a fixture, but if you've already got 3 Palace, then happy days. Bench 2, Marmoush, Saka, Vardy, Saliba, Bradley, Savinho. I would bench Saka and Bradley. Well, Bradley, see, the thing is, if you've got Bradley, I'd be tempted to play him because he's a big differential. In which case, I guess I would bench Saliba or Vardy, but I think Saka and Bradley would probably be the 2 I would bench out of those. Would you wait to use the triple captainship? If you think there's a better option later on, yes. I'd probably be using it this week in most cases. Bench boost 32. Raya, Konza, Vardy, Rodgers, or bench boost 33. 11 doublers. Pope, Konza, Milenkovic, Salah -1. I still don't think... I really don't think people would bench Salah next week if they weren't on bench boost, but whatever. Pope. So Ray is better this week than Pope. Konza's better next week than Konza. Milenkovic is worse next week than Vardy, and Salah's obviously better than Rodgers. I mean, again, probably next week because you've got Salah on the bench, but you wouldn't bench Salah. Let's be real. If we got to game week 33 next week and I said to you, I'm cancelling your bench boost, you're not allowed to use it, would you still bench Salah? I mean, okay, let's say I've got my team, but instead of Evan Nilsson, I got Mateta, and instead of Eze and Palmer, I've got Rodgers and Savinho. Maybe I would bench Salah. Yeah, maybe I would. I'm gonna let some of you off. You might have teams for it. I would hate it, but I might do it for 11 double game weekers. Kivior or Savinho? Savinho. Brought in Diaz instead of a Palace player for differential. Nice. Let's hope he doesn't get benched like last week. Would you wait to use the triple captain? Oh, I did that one. Would you captain Salah instead of Isak to chase? No, I would captain a different double game week player if I wanted to chase, I think. Realise there's 2 games before game week 33 for Arsenal, Palace and Villa. A lot can go wrong. Yeah. Play Saka or João Pedro. João Pedro. Sell Foden and Gordon to Saka and Murphy. I wouldn't do... I think Foden and Saka is kind of pointless this week. Gordon to Murphy sounds good, though. How do I feel about Mark Southerns leaving Black Box? It's a shame that he's leaving the content scene because I think... like, obviously, he started content long before most other people. So it's kind of a shame to see that because before he stopped doing content, then he came back. But yeah, he's going to work. I don't know exactly what he said or what he's allowed to say, but like he seems to be going to work closer to the game, and I think that can only be a good thing. Like if you're going to take someone from the community to go and work closer to FPL, then it's probably Mark, right? Although I'm sure him and Az had a discussion about capping captaincy. So like you could only captain a player a certain amount of times, or you couldn't captain like 2 weeks in a row or something. I hope he doesn't go and implement that. What's your justification for Raya and Saliba over Martinez and Vardy? I just flipped a coin, to be honest with you. Just flipped a coin. But in all seriousness, Raya is an Arsenal goalkeeper, not a Villa one. And Vardy's up against my Palace attackers. There's really not that much in it. As I've said numerous times, just play Vardy. You all want to play Vardy over Saliba, so just play Vardy over Saliba, honestly. Yeah, I think capping captain is bad, but I don't want to get into it again. 3 to start out of Vardy, Saliba, Burn, Kanate. I would bench Kanate. Start Palmer or Marmoush, Palmer, Konza or Kushnov. So Vardiol could go back to left back and Kushnov could come in, but I don't know who's more likely to start. I'd play Konza, I think. Sell Clivert, get Murphy, and play Murphy for Saki. Yes. No bench boost, but triple captain active on Isak and no free hit. Yeah, sounds good. All chips available. What would your ideal wildcard be? Again, I'm not going to go for a wildcard draft now. It'd be probably quite similar to this team. I already answered the question on this earlier. Be quite similar, but I'd probably go Mateta for Evan Nielsen if I could afford it. Eze to Rogers or Savinho. Nico Williams for a different defender like Konza, something like that. Play Saka or Zhao. Oh, did that one. Have 2 free transfers, Raya and Fabianski to Martinez and Sanchez. Raya and Fabianski to Martinez and Sanchez. Why are you selling Raya? I'd sell Fabianski, sure. I don't really get selling Raya, though. Currently need to bench 3 of Foden, Saka, Lewis, Konza, and Timber. Should I roll or do Foden to a Villa midfielder? The problem with buying Villa midfielders is the one you want this week is probably not the one you want long term. That's the issue. So if you've got a bench 3, oh my God, Rico Lewis. I mean, in your case, I'd probably just play Foden, Saka, and Konza because they're all doubts this week. Lewis to Vardiol is good. If you do Lewis to Vardiol, I'd play Saka, Foden, and Vardiol probably. Start Rogers or Saka. Rogers, I think. Again, I don't know who's going to start. I'm guessing Rogers has got more chance. They could both get benched. They could both start. Rogers could start. Saka could get benched. Saka could start. Rogers could get benched. I really just don't know this week. But I'm going to guess Rogers got a slightly better chance. Start Ray or Verbruggen. William. Yeah, probably Verbruggen just because it's Leicester. Williams or Saliba. Someone asked me if I missed their super chat. I don't think I have. But also, I've forgotten who said that I've missed it, so I can't go and check. Oh, I've just realised I'm still listening to Phoenix an hour and a half into the stream. Let me change that. Like a phoenix. No Man City team news as of yet. Bench boost 32 with Kepa. Okay. Kepa, Saliba, Milenkovic, Saka. Okay. Or 33 with Kepa, Livramento, Milenkovic, Isak. 33 means Murphy to Rogers, though, which I could skip and play Isak. No, Murphy to Rogers is good, I think. Okay, so Kepa's better this week, just about. Saliba is better than Livramento. Milenkovic is better than Milenkovic. Saka is probably worse than Isak next week. I go this week, I think, because I think it's quite close. So I'd prefer just to play it earlier. On Yeti Catchy Paul, thank you. Show me 0-0. Excuse me, thank you. Why do I not have Welbeck? Because I've got Isak, Marmoush, and Evan Nielsen instead. Why do I not have Welbeck? It doesn't. Whatever I think is going to come up in a deadline stream, I never get it completely right. Presumably, no one asked me why I don't have Welbeck when he was benched like the previous 4 or 5 games. Is it worth using a transfer to maximise bench boost or save for later game weeks? Depends who the transfer is. Like, if you can make a transfer that improves your bench and then is also going to be good long term, then why not? Why do I not have Mane? I did have Mane once. Triple captain him in the double game week and he got injured in the first game for a 1-pointer. That was fun. Going against Salah, I think. Why don't I have Sessegnon? Hey, look. Sessegnon, in all seriousness, Sessegnon in game week 34. Maybe. If he keeps playing, he's listed as a defender, playing advanced. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 returns in his last 5 matches. There's not a guarantee he keeps playing, but if he does, Southampton away, you never know. I'll probably go Robinson, but there we go. Kanate, Saliba, or Vardiol? Saliba, but again, it's really close between him and Gabriel. Him and Vardiol, sorry. Start Alanga or Marlon. If you've got Marlon, you start him. I think this week. You had Mane once in the final game week a few seasons ago. I think I had Mane twice, and one season I captained him as a differential, and one season I didn't. Or maybe twice I didn't. And one of the times I didn't go for him, I went for the safer pick. I missed out on top 10k. Which is a bit annoying. But then in a different season, I went for the safe and obvious captain, and I got into the top 10k because of that. So I think the argument that you should always go differential doesn't necessarily stand out. I think I captained Son against Norwich or something like that when it was just like the obvious thing to do, and that pushed me into the top 10k. But it's Leicester. I don't know what that's referring to. If you worked at FPL, what's the one thing you change? I'd probably get rid of the assistant managership. I don't particularly like it. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't know. I feel like for what they're trying to achieve with the game, which is like a bit of simplicity, it allows many people to just come and play because it's like you don't have to think about it too much. Like the assistant manager requires a fair bit of planning, I would say, and it can get quite confusing as well with like the table bonus and then will they or won't they have table bonus in 2 weeks? Like, I don't really get why it's a 3 game week chip. Maybe you could do assistant manager for 1 week. Hello, I have Raya, Konza, Wanyeri, and Rodgers on my bench. Too risky for a bench boost. Probably, yeah. I mean, the question is, will you have a better bench soon? Presumably you will. I mean, Wanyeri will probably start, but cannot guarantee that. Triple captain Isak or Bruno Gomes? Isak. 32, Areola, Saka, Kivior, Kirkes. Or 33. So Areola's better in 33. Murphy, arguably in 33, is better than Saka this week. Livramento is worse than Kivior, and Kirkes is worse than Kirkes. If you got 3 free transfers to make that bench better in 33, I'd probably go 33. But this week's not terrible. Saka's your only real risk. Start Kushinov. Bradley is a punt for Gabriel. Yeah, Bradley's a good punt. Whether or not you start the Man City defender really depends on who else you've got to choose from. Like, he might not start again this week. Saka, Saliba, Rodgers, Saliba for the minutes. Bench boost for Bruggen, Rodgers, Vardy or Konza, or use 1 free transfer for it. The thing is, if you use a transfer, it's to remove one of the Villa players who are good next week, so I don't think you can do that. Like, would you have a better bench next week, maybe? Have a think about that. I think Kivior's safe-ish, especially with Calafiori injured. Calafiori? Is it Calafiori? Do I think Marlon will play both double game week 33 matches? I think it's very unlikely he starts both in 33. I think it's actually more likely he doesn't start either. Thoughts on dead end bench boost 33 than wildcard 34? I haven't looked into wildcard 34 a massive amount, but presumably it could work. The only issue you might run into is if there's doubles in 36, the teams that are doubling, a lot of them will then blank in 34 and you might want them. Now, you could put 4 of them on your bench, but it might be that you have to go to 35. Am I going to change the format topics of any of your videos next season? Do you think they need changing? What needs changing, I guess, is the question. Can we talk about Saka going up in price almost thrice with barely any minutes played? Yeah, I know. Mad. The goal off the bench. Everyone wanted to bring him in. I mean, to be fair, I thought he probably would start in 31. Charlie, thank you. 32 bench boosts. Raya, Rodgers, Colwell, plus defender or triple captain. Again, will your bench be better in a future week? Because if not, you could just bench boost 32 this week and go for Saka next week or Marmoush if you wanted to. Favorite 2 keepers on wildcard, bench boost 33. Probably Raya and then take your pick. Edison, Henderson, or Martinez. Edison, I mean, there's every chance that Ortega could play at some point. I guess is a little bit of a worry. But the fixtures are pretty good long term and they could double. So I think if you want to risk it, I'd go Edison. On wildcard, Bradley, Konza, Kukurea, Milenkovic. What, just one of them? Probably Konza with a double next week. Why Raya in goal? Why not? Should I bench boost with Verbruggen, Saliba, Konza, and Rodgers this week, or Verbruggen, Isak, Burn, and Livramento? So you got 2 players that might not start this week, so I guess you've got to go next week, especially with Isak there. I think Trossard's pretty good this week, but I don't know about his minutes in 33, to be honest with you. Aston Villa defender who's most likely to start every game the next 2 game weeks. I mean, it's Konza, but I suspect he'll get a bench this week. So Bradley seems pretty good. You could be getting the same amount of fixtures next 2. Bench choices, Saka or Rashford. Rashford probably, and Saliba or Nico Williams. Nico Williams, I think. Let's be honest, bench boost 32 is dead. Oi! My bench is fine-ish. Yeah, my bench is fine-ish. Play Saka, Foden, Konza, or sell Gabriel for Bradley. I would... Oof. Gabriel for Bradley, I guess. Is Martinez better than Raya? It's really close. I'd always back the Arsenal defence, I think. But could Villa get a clean sheet against Southampton? Yes. Bench boost, Martinez, Konza, Kirkez, and Marmoush, or triple captain Isak. Again, like, what's your bench next week? Or the week after, or the week after that? Will you have a better bench? Because if not, then you could just triple captain someone else next week. Worth going Saka to Palmer this week for bench boost. I personally don't think so, because you'll want Saka straight back. Unless he gets injured or something. Bench boost options 32. Areola, Saka, Saliba, Rodgers, Konza, Gordon. Wait, what? That's a big bench. Oh my god. There's no way I'm going to get my head around this. You've given me a bench boost with 6 players. Areola, Saka, Saliba, Rodgers, Konza, Gordon. So your actual bench is what? Areola, Rodgers, Konza, Gordon. So they all might not start, or they're Areola. 1 free transfer. Worth Gordon to Murphy. I would do Gordon to Murphy. Yes, I think so. Even with the hit in okay, even with the hit in 33. Yes. Wait, what? Worth Gordon to Murphy 32. No, and I'll take a hit for bench boost 33. 3 Newcastle. I don't get it. I think your bench is pretty rubbish this week. Put it that way. I think Gordon to Murphy is worth a transfer. If that makes sense. So yes, I think I would take the hit and bench boost 33, I think is what you're asking. No City or Palace leaks that I've seen so far. To be honest, I don't even want leaks, because if it's a bad one, I can't bother to think about it. I just want to play my bench boost. Get it over with. On a wildcard, punt on Minter or who else from Brighton? For a midfielder, yeah, probably Minter. Otherwise, João Pedro up front. I've got triple captain. Is this the week? It could be, unless next week's the week. I really like Isak triple captain this week for what it's worth. Timber or Vardio on bench 1, Saka, Rodgers, Bowen. I mean, Bowen's probably the only one that's quite likely to start out of those 3. Timber, Mitchell, or Lacroix in for the next 2 game weeks only. I go Palace, I think. Lacroix. Pickford, Timber, Saka, Kirkez, bench boost 32. Or Pickford, Isak, Kirkez, Milenkovic, bench boost and triple captain 32. I'd probably triple captain 32. I think your bench is probably slightly better next week. Bench boost 32. Ray, Rodgers, Saliba. Okay, hang on. Bench boost 32. Ray, Rodgers, Saliba, Konza. Or bench boost 33. Pope, Isak, Konate, Burn. Yeah, I mean, if they all play, then this week is better. But I don't think they will. So 33. Bench boost 32. Martinez, Rodgers, Vardy, or Max Rowie to another defender. Or bench boost 33 -4. Martinez, Murphy, Livramento to another defender. Max Rowie. I just go this week, I think. I wouldn't take a -4. I'd just play Max Rowie. Unless, yeah, I'd probably just play Max Rowie. Bench boost 32. Ray, Saka, Konate, Konza. So again, two risks. Or 33. Henderson double. Rodgers double. I'm going 33, definitely. In your case. Apologies if already covered, but who could potentially double in 36? Would Game Week 36 double as blank in 37? Yes. I would just have to use transfers and hits. That's the reality of it. Like, at this point, I cannot not free hit in 34. I've just set myself up in a way where that's going to happen. So I would have to have... Like, if your free hit 34 and there's doubles in 36, you will have some doublers already in your team left over from 33. So you'll have at least, well, I'll probably have at least 5 or 6, I suspect. So I could add a couple more and then use hits to cover 37. Or just leave the amount of doublers I've got for 36 and use transfers in 37. There ain't really any other way to do it. I could save the free hit, but the problem is then I've definitely got to use hits in 34 and there might not be doubles in 36. So yeah, transfers and hits. Everyone else is going to be in the same position, so it is what it is. Like, if there are doubles in 36, obviously some people will end up with more doublers than others. That's just the way it is, but you've got to, play the hand you're dealt, which I got wrong last week. Carla, thank you. Start Agbadu or Konza. I guess Agbadu because he's probably going to start. Asensio in for Palmer on bench boost or roll. Saliba or Milenkovic, Saliba or bench boost Ray, Saka, Luka Dean. No, I wouldn't bench boost that. Best assistant manager to choose this week is I guess I go Glasner for back-to-back doubles. Let me see. Did I miss any of these other questions? I don't think so. Yeah, if you've only got one risk like Saka on bench boost, I probably wouldn't go to Palmer, I don't think. I mean, Palmer could go big, but he could also just not. And you'll want Saka next week. Feels weird benching Saka, Timber over Savinho, Vardy. I agree, and I really want to just say it again with 20 minutes to go. Saka could start. Like, no one is sitting here, at least definitely not me, saying that Saka is definitely not going to start, but that would be the prediction, that he's probably on the bench again. Triple captain 32 Isak or 33 Marmoush. I prefer Isak, I think. I think potentially Saka could be better next week, but I think Isak's the safer pick this week. Again, I could be wrong about his fitness, but I think people are over-worrying a bit. Start Wood, Gordon, Saliba or Vardy. Saliba, I think. How rotated will the Arsenal team be? Scary going with no Arsenal versus one or double defence. Pretty rotated. Like, honestly, I think Raya and Saliba and Kivior will start. I think pretty much every other player could be rotated from the Real Madrid game. Like, there's a chance for it. Or we might have it completely wrong and there's only a couple of changes. Like, just don't know. Hatem, you're not considering benching all those players. I'm not going to go through your whole team and tell you who to bench. Like, you've put like Salah in there. You're not benching Salah. Come on. Palmer to Diaz for free. I honestly do not get that move in the slightest. I can't see any reason to do Palmer to Diaz. Can't think of one good reason. Yeah. Don't know why you would do that. Start Saliba, Konza or Vardy, Saliba, and Saka or Savinho. Start Vardy or Konate, Vardy. Bench one, Rodgers, Son or Saliba. Oof. Son. I mean, Ange actually went quite full strength in the last game, but surely Son comes out for the European match. So I'm going to say bench Son. Daniel, new member, thank you. To start this week, Konza or Vardy? Definitely Vardy. I would bench Evan Nielsen over Bruno, I think. Just about. I'm hoping this is the week that Palmer hauls. Me too. I've been hoping that for about 27 weeks at this point. If you received a bench info or injury for the upcoming match, would you cancel your bench boost? Depends who it is. Maybe. I mean, if it's an injury, probably. What are the situations where there will be doubles in 36? I don't even think it necessarily depends on Spurs in Europe now. Basically, teams that get through to the FA Cup final could blank in 37 and then their match will be pulled forward to 36. But it's not guaranteed. I really want to stress that. But the fixture gurus seem to be more positive about it happening than they were maybe a few weeks ago. Is it worth bench boost when I have Gordon and Saka in? Probably. I mean, Gordon could start one of the games, I guess. I don't think so. I would sell Gordon, I think, to Murphy. Start Palmer or Mbermo. Palmer. This week on bench, Mbermo or Asensio. I would bench Mbermo. Whether you should bench boost depends on what the rest of your bench is and how good it might be in future weeks. Sells or Pope this week. The guy with a double. Sells to Martinez, 33. Potentially if you need a double game week, yeah. Start Saka or Bruno Fernandes. In Bruno, we trust. Didn't I triple captain Shane Duffy one year? Let's not talk about that. I'm on Wildcard. Why does it all go to the pot near the deadline? I don't know if I should back the City defence and Edison, Vardy or Marmoush set up for double game week 33 or get 3 Palace, 3 Newcastle. Can't you do both? Or am I missing something? Bench Timber or Luka Dean. They're both probably going to get rotated. Who's more likely to get rotated? I don't know. Timber, I guess. I'd probably play Luka Dean. Bench one, Saka, Rodgers. Saka, because I think Rodgers is more likely to start. Again, I could be wrong about that. I can't stress that enough. I might have this disastrously wrong. Saka might start. He might score a hat-trick. On Wildcard 32, need a cheaper Arsenal defender. Timber or Kivior? Who to bench? Vardy or Rodgers, Marmoush, Strand, Larson, Saliba, Nico Williams. Probably Rodgers. And hope he gets benched, I think. I'm triple captain Isak. What do you think? I think that sounds like a pretty good decision to me. Dun, 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 dun. Would you start Sabinho over Gordon if we get a leaky starts? I think if you've got Gordon, you're probably playing him. I actually think you should probably just be transferring him out. Do, 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 do. Alanga, what about him? I think he could start, but again, he's a doubt. We don't know. Foden's a doubt. Again, that's all we know. Am I listening to Radio 1? No, I've got Spotify on. Captain Salah this game week since he has a way better record against West Ham than Isak has against Palace and United. No, not for me. Tempted by Rice after those free kicks? Nope, not really. Would you start Bradley over Vardio? Probably not. The thing I like about Bradley is he's a differential over Vardio, but all things considered, I think Vardio is better. Can I play Delap? You can. Just put him into your 11. Murphy or Gordon? I've got a lot of funds. I mean, it's got to be Murphy at this point. Play Rodgers or Marmoush. Marmoush. Start Saka or Matoma. Matoma. Oh, no, I don't know, actually. They're both doubts. I think because they're both doubts, you've probably got to start Saka. But there is part of me that thinks Matoma's got more chance of starting, and it's Leicester. I don't know on that one. If they're both doubts, it has to be Saka, right? Yeah, I say Saka, but deep down I think it should be Matoma. I don't know. Start Konza, Kanate, or Nico Williams. Kanate. Start Nico Williams or Vardio. By the way, just to say it again, as much as I'm bench boosting, so it doesn't matter who I bench, I have gone for what I would consider a realistic bench. And so if you've got a benching decision between players I've got on the bench and in my team, then that is my answer. So like Saliba, Nico Williams, I'm playing Saliba. Bench boost for Bruggen, Savinho, Timber, Konza, last two are concerned. Will you have a better bench in the future week? If not, bench boost this week. Tell me what to do with Alanga. Probably keep him. Unless you haven't got triple Newcastle or triple Palace already. Start Wood or Bowen. See, Wood could start, but we don't know. So I guess Bowen for safety of minutes. Captain Sarr and assistant manager Glasner, 2 punty. Again, I think Isak's much better than Sarr this week, but Sarr could do well. How come you think bench boost is better than Isak triple captain? I don't necessarily. Depends on what your bench is this week, next week. What your thoughts are around triple captain on Saka. I also don't have my triple captain. Unfortunately, pick Solanke on wildcard. Play him over Saka. I think Solanke is more likely to start than Saka. Although again, they've got Europe, so they will have half an eye on that. I think you'd place Vardy over Saliba, possibly, but I also really think people underestimate how much I back the Arsenal defence, despite like being tripled up on Arsenal defence like a few months ago. Like going by the clean sheet odds that Rob T FPL on Twitter posted. When can I just start saying Rob on Twitter, by the way? Like, he did a final update. Let's have a look here. So, Arsenal... Ooh. It's changed. The clean sheet odds have changed for Arsenal, 36% instead of 38. I think they were 38 before. But Man City clean sheet odds, 34%. So the bookies are still backing Arsenal for a clean sheet over Man City, just about. It's really close. I don't know how many more times I can say it. If you all want to play Vardio, so just play Vardio. Like, if I'm playing Saliba, it doesn't matter. I'm on bench boost anyway. Just play Vardio. Right now, do me a favour. If you've got Vardio and Saliba, go to your FPL page, either on your phone or on your computer, click on Vardio and sub him in for Saliba. Just do it, because you all want to play Vardio, so just play Vardio. It's a really close call. If your gut feeling is Vardio, play Vardio. If you think Vardio is the better option, play Vardio. I don't know what more I can say. I really don't. He's probably got more chance of scoring than Saliba. His bonus potential is probably better. Go for it. Go for Vardio. He's the best defender in the world. Any City news? Nope. Not yet. Start one of Roger, Savinho or Vardio. Savinho, even though Vardio's the best defender in the world. Do I think Foden starts? No. Start Saka or Rogers. Rogers, just about. Start Rogers or Marmoush. Marmoush. Would you really play Vardy over Bradley? Probably, yes. But again, if you want to play Bradley, you should just play Bradley. I'm not stressed out. I keep saying that Saliba and Vardio is really close, and then everyone just keeps saying you play Vardio. Why aren't you playing Vardio? Just play Vardio. Like, honestly, I don't. What's the issue? Vardio or Hall? Well, Lewis Hall's out for the season. You're playing both Vardio and Saliba. Maybe I should do that and just bench Munoz. Do I think Chris Wood starts? I think there is a chance, yeah. Saliba will probably be benched. Oh my god. No, I don't think that's... Oh god, can you imagine? When are Arsenal playing? Is it 3 p.m. today? I hope it is. Just get it out of the way. Oh, it's 5:30 today. I won't be able to watch that either, probably. Do I watch Nottingham Forest and Everton on TV? Probably not, right? Doesn't sound like a very exciting game. So 3 out of 4 on my bench are playing today. No, wait, are they all playing today? Oh, yeah. Evan Nilsson's playing Monday. There's no leaks for City that I've seen so far. Maybe they're incoming. I don't know. Vardio or Marmoush? Marmoush. I'm not agitated at all. Genuinely, I'm pretty calm about today because my team's looking all right. Saliba, as if not more indispensable to Arsenal than Saka right now. Yeah, Saliba could be benched. Again, I don't. What do you want me to say? Arsenal will rotate. Saliba could get benched. Do I think he will get benched? No, but could I be wrong? Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if anything in terms of lineups for Arsenal and Villa in particular this week in FPL. To a poll on starting Vardy for Saliba. Okay. I can already tell. I already know who wins this, by the way. Let me put the fixtures in. There we go. The poll has started. Less than 10 minutes, by the way, to the deadline. Make sure to give the stream a like. Hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. Because that's just a nice thing to do. Helps me out, you know. Yeah, starting both is obviously something you could definitely do as well. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Palace always wins away from home. Yeah, I doubt that's going to be the case after the next 5 home games, though. Enzo with Ipswich at home. Roger, I'd probably play Enzo. Do you ever make transfer decisions based on your mini leagues? Never. Never, ever. More likely to be benched, Marino or Saka? Probably Saka, more likely, I would say. Who's gonna sing me back? Timber and Saliba will start. I think Saliba will. I'm less sure about Timber. Vardy's winning the poll, by the way, 58% to 42%. Start two of Rogers, Bowen, Saka, Konza. Bowen and Rogers, I guess. Yeah. Start one, Foden, Rogers or Vardio. Timber, I did that one. Isak better triple captains day. I'll keep Chip for Game Week 38. I would go Isak, definitely. Burn Potter to Williams, Howe, -4, or Arteta free transfer. Probably Arteta for a free, I think. How sure am I that Savinho starts? Sure-ish, yeah. Bench Saka or Saliba? Saka, I think. Just hope that he's benched again. There's been no leaks. No. I'll mention them if we see them. Bench boost 32. Raya, Saliba, Savinho, Konza. Raya, Saliba, Konza. I mean, that sounds pretty good. Bench boost 33. Martinez, Murphy, Livermore, Brown. I think 32. Just hope for the best on Konza. Saka will not be benched, trust me. Okay. Asensio in for Gordon. He pulled the strings versus Brighton last game week. He should start this game. It's just about the doubles in 33. You don't know how many of those he's going to start. Minimum points, 16, 17, 18 would probably be enough on bench boost, I think. Triple captain Murphy. If you don't own Isak, sure. Palace love playing Man City. Honestly think they will win. Possibly, yeah. They've been playing really well. I'm just saying that like Palace's away record's really good, but they have got 5 tough away games left for the season on paper. So the away record might not look quite so good after they play all of them. Will Rogers start, or can I do Mitoma 1 game week punt? Mitoma's a doubt, so I wouldn't make that move. Do I reckon Trossard is a good start for 30? Good punt. I think Trossard's a good punt. Yes, for 32. I'm not sure about after that. If you had triple captain, would you bench boost or triple? Again, I would set my. I might not have this bench on it. Okay, let me. The only way I can answer it, if I had this team, I'd probably triple captain 33 because I think my bench is better this week. I guess. Bench boost or triple captain, it really depends on your team. Go if your bench is good next week, go triple captain Isak this week. Foden out for Asensio or Savinho if he starts. Savinho, I think for me. Like Asensio is not nailed. I mean, neither Savinho, I know, but the fixtures are better in 33 at least. Marmoush or Saka to start. Marmoush. Is it worth captaining Murphy to Isak over Isak to chase rank? I think there's probably better ways to try and go different than not captaining Isak, but sure, if you're not going to captain Isak, Murphy probably one of the next best options. Man City almost certainly concede, not the same with Arsenal. I mean, yeah, Arsenal defence is better, for sure. I completely agree with you. Completely. Let me just take a quick look at this. Around the world, around the world. Apologies. Play Odegaard on -4 for Murphy. I probably would want Murphy this week, but I think Odegaard's okay without the hit. The hit kind of puts me off a little bit. Buy Palmer, sell Saka for -4. I probably wouldn't do that, no. Start Vardy, Saka or Rodgers Vardy. Let me just quickly double check this. Sorry. Why is Rodgers a doubt? He's not a doubt like injury-wise, just that there could be some rotation in between the two PSG games. Rodgers might start again. 5 double game week players, roll 2 free transfers and triple captain Isak, or use the 2 free transfers, 6 game week players and bench boost. Again, it's impossible to say without seeing the benches and all the moves and trying to get my head around that, which I probably wouldn't do with 2.5 minutes to go. I would say, given that you haven't decided yet, you probably go 5 double game week players, roll, and triple captain Isak. How much harder do you think FPL is now with increased engagement? It just gets harder every year. Like that question basically gets asked every year. Is FPL harder now? The answer is always yes, basically. And there's not much more to it than that. And it's not going to stop because it's popular and people know that, right? For a while, Sky didn't do anything for FPL because they had their own game. Now they don't have Sky Fantasy Football, so they're pushing more into FPL content because that's where you get the clicks from, right? Start Saka or Semenyo. Probably Semenyo. Team news and ticks is Arsenal, right? And Arsenal aren't playing right now. Kirkes or Gordon? I'd probably chance Gordon. Just hope for the best. But obviously there is risk there. Should I make early transfers if I have the exact amount of money? If you're 100% sure that's the move you're going to make, but there's always an alternative usually. I think Mark should do a Howard Webb and front up about controversial assists. Does that really help? By the way, when Howard Webb comes out, does it really help? Probably not. Martinez or Raya? I'm going Raya. I have triple captain on Isak. Nice. 38 seconds until the deadline. So make sure you get your stuff locked in. I need to actually just Christ, it's not the time to be doing this, but let me just check I'm definitely set. So bench boost is active. The blue line means it's active. My captain's on Isak, my vice captain's on Eze, and I'm happy enough with that. Okay. Play Raya or Sells. Yeah, but there is usually an alternative. Like people that missed out on Saliba because of price change, they just get Kivior now, right? Play Raya or Sells. Raya for me. Why is bench boost unavailable? Do you have another chip you're using potentially? Elanga might start. I know, deadline gone. Deadline's finished. Before you all run off, if you enjoyed that, make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. Pretty please. I'm going to do the sleeper draw for Game Week 30 in a minute. Favourite small town in Ireland? Mine is Westport. Westport's pretty good, yeah. Been there a few times. I don't know though. I'd have to get a list of small towns that I've been to. Too many deadline day streams now. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. No, I'm only messing. They're popular, so people are going to do them, right? Of course they are. And it's only going to go up, by the way. You're not going to... People aren't going to look and think, oh, do you know what? There's quite a few people doing FPL full-time content. I'm definitely not going to do it. They're going to think, well, I could do that as well. And that's exactly what they should think. No City League that I've seen, no. Nope. Isak on holiday to the rest of the season. The boy just landed in the Bahamas. Nightmare. Nightmare. What was I going to... Oh, yeah, I need to... Okay, I definitely need to do the sleeper draw today because I didn't do it for Game Week 30. And there is a lot There is a lot of people this week. So let me just bring this up. So all these people got 8 predictions correct. Got 8 predictions correct in Game Week 30 on Sleeper. If you want to join the Let's Talk FPL League, by the way, link in the description below. There'll be another £50 Amazon voucher up for grabs for Game Week 32. I don't need to do a draw for Game Week 31 because BK Baz got 9 predictions correct. No one else got 9. So let's go for this. Damn, never had this many people. Mad week. Mad week. Super Strikers. I'm going to message you, hopefully after the deadline stream, and ask for your email. I'm going to send you the £50 Amazon voucher. If you want to join the Sleeper Let's Talk FPL Pick'em League over on Sleeper, link in the description below. Right. There we go. It's all over. 3 of my bench playing today. Let's hope they do well. Why, when it's 50-50, it always feels like you took the wrong one after the deadline? Been there lots of times. Just hope for the best now. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to shoot off. Thank you very much for joining me. Enjoy your weekend. I'll catch you. I might do a stream tomorrow night. Might. I'll see. People just don't watch the streams on Sunday night anymore, unfortunately, because there's just videos to go and watch instead. That's the reality of it. That's why I didn't do a stream last week and just did a video instead. But anyway, I'll decide tomorrow. I might be hungover tomorrow, so I might not want to stream, but we'll see. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch you tomorrow one way or another, or if not, Monday. And we'll catch you for double Game Week 33 chat. I'll see you later on.